Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out to the Scuba Shack trip meeting for the Philippines. We put this together to go through a lot of stuff, hopefully clear up a lot of things. What I'm going to ask is if you have a really urgent question, go ahead and jump in, but we're probably going to get to some of that. I'd like to leave a lot of the questions to the end so we can get through the presentation first and then focus on some of the questions. Some things we're still waiting on a few answers on, but we're waiting to get any other questions tonight so we can get them all wrapped up. So we got a month to go. We're going to go through. This is our general agenda for tonight. I'm going to introduce you to the travel group. I'm not going to have everybody introduce themselves. You'll see what we're doing there. We're going to talk about the general schedule. We're going to review the paperwork. There's a lot of paper on this. Believe me, Saturday or Sunday, it was paper from one end of this room to the other as we were working through things. We finally got it worked out. We'll go through it. If we're missing anything, we'll deal with that. We're going to talk a little bit about Atlantis overview, some general information, and we close up with some things around gratuities, which is always a lot of questions that get asked about that. Okay, so let's get started. The travel team. This is everybody that's on the trip this time. We were going through this. There's 27 of us making the journey out to the Philippines. As we looked at this, I said to Donna, 17 of you have traveled with Scuba Shack before. Of the 20 other 25. Of course, Don and I have traveled with Scuba Shack, so we don't count. But 17 of you have all traveled with us before. And we hope that you'll all feel like part of the family when we're done and maybe look at something else in the future with us. So that's the whole group. Just so you can see who's on there. I lied to Donna today. I said I was going to get this in a PDF format and get it out to everybody before the meeting, and I forgot. So I'll do a PDF version of this PowerPoint, so you'll have that as well to reference. All right. In this slide package, you'll also see this is everybody's flight. Everybody's coming in at a different point in time. So we wanted to show everybody on what flights you were on coming in. I think that's everybody up there. That's your inbound flight.
Slides going to be available to us?
Yeah. So I'm going to put a PDF together. I'll send this out to you. I wanted to do that ahead of time, but I forgot. I was involved in some other things. So everybody's arriving at different times. We've got people coming in. Gina and Dennis are going over early to do a little exploring of the Philippines. They're going to meet us at the Belmont on the 16th. Izzy gets in then on the 15th, and then everybody starts arriving the 16th and 17th. And then Ivan and Michael will bring up the rear on this and come in on Wednesday morning before the flight to Dumaguete. So I think we got everybody there. Just so you know, I don't have your outbound flights, but that's we're done. Okay. Yeah. So I thought I'd just give a little bit of a overview of the Philippines. Depending on which book you look at, it says there's over 7,000 islands. I looked at said 7,107. I saw another book that said 7,600 islands. Who knows, with climate change, they may have less islands than they used to. But you'll see that the Philippines is grouped into 5 major island groups. There's Luzon, which is up where Manila is, that big island up top. You'll see Manila up there. The Visayas, which is down in the central part, you'll see where Dumaguete is red highlighted down there. Those group of islands down there with Leyte, Bohol, Cebu, Negros, Panay, those are all the Visayanas. Then you've got Mindanao down to the south. We don't want to go there. And then you've got Mindoro and Palawan kind of off to the west there. The language in the Philippines is Tagalog, but English is really prevalent as well. That's the official language, Tagalog. They do speak different dialects, like in Cebu, they have Cebuano, which is a little bit different dialect. As for the currency, right now the exchange rate is $1 to 56 pesos. Easy math, folks, just use 50. So, you know, you can give the 6 pesos or whatever. So that's a little bit on the Philippines, just to give you see where it's at. It is halfway around the world from us. So I think they're 12, it's either 12 or 13-hour time difference, depending, you know, on whether we're on daylight savings or Eastern Standard, but it'll be 13 or 12-hour difference. Okay, general schedule. As I said, everybody's coming in on the 16th or 17th or 18th is when people are coming in. There's a pre-trip stay at the Belmont. So everybody's in there either 1 or 2 nights. I think Izzy's got 3. She's getting in early. There is a city tour for those who are signed up on the 17th. We'll leave about 8:30 in the morning from the hotel. It'll be about a 4-hour excursion out in the town. I've done that a couple of times. It's pretty neat. And then we fly to Dumaguete on the 18th. We will be picked up at the Belmont by Atlantis. Will take us all over to the airport. We're not going to walk over this time. And then
Ivan and Michael, you will have a Atlantis representative meet you and take you to the right gate.
Okay, the flight to Dumaguete is out of Terminal 3. It's the new terminal, so and it's the closest to the Belmont. Being close doesn't mean it's necessarily a short ride, though. It could be some traffic. So they're going to pick us. They're going to pick us up on the morning of the 18th around 8:30. Take us to the airport. I think our flight's at 11:30. And then we'll get down to Dumaguete around 1:30 and head over to the resort. We'll be at the Atlantis on the 18th through the 28th, and we fly back to Manila on the 28th. Some people are going to be flying out that later that day. You'll have airport transfers back to Terminal 1. Believe me, it's not easy to get from Terminal 3 to Terminal 1 in Manila, or it used to be pretty challenging. So there'll be an airport transfer to get you from the Terminal 3 over to Terminal 1 for your flights back. Some of us are then going back to the Belmont, and we'll stay over there for a night and then fly out. So that's the general schedule. Now, there was a lot of paper that we sent you, a lot of different files, and it can get a little confusing. And it took me a little while to get through it all to make sure I had it logically in my brain. We tried to only give you the material that you needed. Sometimes we might have missed something, or we might have to update something. But I did give everybody all 3 airport documents, just in case you end up in a different place than you expected, or you want to walk, or you don't. There's the runway Manila, the Terminal 1 map, and Terminal 3. The maps aren't really to scale, so take it with a grain of salt. You also have airport arrival transfer vouchers. So if you're being picked up and taken to the Belmont, you have a voucher for that. some of us are going to be walking on that runway from Terminal 3. It's about a 15-minute walk from the terminal to the Belmont. That's what they
Once you
say.
get on it.
You also, there are pre-trip stay at the Belmont. You have vouchers for that. I think there were two different groups. We also had a voucher for the Manila City tour. If you are not on that voucher and you paid us,
We're working on it, Marta.
if you're on there and you paid us, well, I guess, no, we'll work it out. If you're, I think Mara was the only one that we missed. So if you think you want to get on that trip, we can also look at that. There's a Manila to Dumaguete airline voucher. There's two of those. There's one group that has like 13 people on it and another one that has 14 people on it. On there, you'll see your seat assignments. Don't blame me. You know, it's, you know, there is no first class, you know. Peter, there's no first class.
I've already upgraded.
Yeah.
I sit right behind the co-pilot.
There you go. You'll also have an Atlantis voucher that shows your room and that sort of stuff. And then there is a voucher for the airlines coming back and a post airport transfer or a Belmont stay. So I've got examples of this all in here. So the airport maps, if you haven't seen them, these are what they look like. There's the write-up on the runway, Manila runway. There's the Terminal 1 map and the Terminal 3 map. Okay.
So did you say we're getting a transfer from the Belmont to Terminal 1 on Wednesday, the 18th?
No. We're getting a transfer from the Belmont to Terminal 3 on the 18th.
Terminal 3. Okay.
I
Do we-
couldn't keep them straight yesterday.
Is that something we should have a voucher for?
No, because I'm taking care of that.
Yeah. I'm following you.
That's we made sure I worked with Les yesterday. We got that resolved. So they're going to pick us all up. All 27 of us are going to get picked up at the Belmont. They're going to take us over to the airport.
Is 3 the domestic terminal and 1's the
More or less.
No, they're all everything. It's all jumbled up. One, no, it's based on the airline.
Okay.
So Philippine Airline is out of Terminal 1. It does international, domestic. There's other airlines that fly in internationally into Terminal 1. And then there's Terminal 3 has both domestic and international. There's two different sides in the terminal, but there's don't try to figure it out by based on the international. There's Terminal 3 is the brand new terminal.
Okay.
Terminal 1 is the old one, but they try to keep it updated. You should have airport transfer vouchers. I think the really want for the people from Terminal 1, you have to get that voucher or transfer over to the Belmont. They're going to pick you up. We had a little bit, it said 7:30 p.m. We're working on making sure it should be 7:30 a.m.
6:30.
That's when their flight arrives.
Well, yeah.
So by the time you get through
So
customs
you
and
will
stuff,
get a corrected one for the people that affects.
okay? Yeah. And then there's some other transfers from Terminal 1 over on the 17th. I think that's when you get in, Steve, as well as some of the other folks.
Somebody that's on the only one.
Well, there's gonna be two, you come in a half an hour after.
Yeah,
three
right,
people, so
right.
you'll be together.
Okay.
All right, so the pre-trip Belmont hotel voucher, you'll see it's got your name and your room and all that stuff. Breakfast is included. It is prepaid, so if they ask you to pay, you really shouldn't. I mean, you'll have to pay if you get room service and things like that, but the hotel is paid for already. Breakfast is included. I'm not sure when when it starts. I'm sure it starts early enough, 6 o'clock or whatever. So, and
Can we get breakfast there, on that morning that we arrive at 6:30 or?
no,
It's not included, but yes, you can.
you can get it.
Okay,
there.
it's not included. All right, that's what I want to know. Is it included or not?
True.
So what? Yeah, for those arriving early in the morning, you get to the hotel. If they have a room ready, you might be able to check in, or you just have to wait. Or the other option is you pay for the previous night and then the room's there, which is silly in my mind. But if you get in and you get over to the Belmont, you can ask if they have a room. It's a pretty big hotel, so there's a lot of rooms there.
You did ask about early check-in and they won't let us do it ahead of time unless you pay
Yeah.
the full night.
So you're just gonna have to talk to them when you get there. So pre-trip hotel vouchers. And then there's the Manila City tour. Great little tour. We're gonna go out to the Cemetery of the Pacific, which is out near one of the old Fort McKinley, Fort Bonifacio. Then we'll head over to Rizal Park, hit the old Intramuros for the one of the oldest churches in Manila, and then end up at Fort Santiago before we head back. Okay. Now there's the 2 documents for the flight from Manila to Dumaguete. You should be on there. You should have a seat assignment. We'll get into this at the end. I just want to tee up right now, and I don't want to get into the baggage situation right now. Our tickets are under an old program with Cebu Pacific. We can do 3 check bags up to 32 kilograms, which is 70 pounds. We'll talk a little bit more about that. That's check baggage. Okay. It's on the ticket. So we should be all set there.
Total of 3 bags.
70 pounds. We'll talk a little bit about, you guys got to travel light. I'm sorry. It's like,
Cameras aren't light.
we'll talk a little bit more about that. The Atlantis voucher should have your information on there with all the stuff. Again, it's nice to have these vouchers. We've done a lot of trips. I've had all these vouchers. Nobody's ever asked for them, but we'll have them electronically. We'll have them, on the computer. We'll have it stuff. So if you like paper,
This is gonna make my bag too heavy, all this paper.
Okay, all these pictures, by the way, I took the last time I was there. So all the pictures you're seeing this are from, they're not stock pictures. They're things that I took. That's the lobby of the hotel. The restaurant's just off to the left there. Then you will have a voucher for your Dumaguete to Manila flight. We have a couple that are leaving, I think, a little bit earlier than the rest of us. But there's 2 other groups, and then Gina and Dennis are heading over to someplace called Magic Island. I don't know what that is, but it's gonna
Sounds kinky to me.
there's gonna be some magic going on, right?
We're supposed to go to Bohol. I don't know anything about Magic Island.
I think isn't that the resort? It's
It's sort of Magic Ocean.
Yeah, Magic Ocean. As they said on TV, that's too much magic.
Dennis, you sly dog, you.
Yeah, so everybody should have their airline voucher or be listed. If you're not listed, I guess you have to stay in Dumaguete and dive for a while. And then the airport transfers coming back. We have the group that's going to need to go back over to Terminal 1. for their flight out that later. We have vouchers to go back to get back to the Belmont, or we walk back to the Belmont over runway at Manila. And then the post-trip Belmont hotel voucher. So if you're not on this voucher and you thought you were staying on the night of the 28th, please let us know. But I think we're pretty squared away with this. Our agent worked pretty hard to work us through this, and we've been in contact with her, and I've also been in contact with Atlantis representatives as well. So they're pretty. They are very thorough and meticulous. So, and we can get things fixed. Okay, at Atlantis, 10 nights in a deluxe room. Some people have upgraded to oceanfront. It's nice, but the rooms are all very well maintained. Pretty nice, very nice, as a matter of fact. So I think we'll all enjoy that. All your meals at Toko's restaurant are included: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast is you order off a menu. Lunch and dinner is blackboard menu, so you get to choose your meal from either fish, chicken, beef, vegetarian stuff. So they have a lot to choose from, and they start to zone in on kind of if you have specific needs or stuff like that. They really cater to any kind of dietary restrictions or things like that over as they get to know you a little bit more as you talk to them. Breakfast drinks are included. You know, you can get coffee, tea, filtered water all day long. At breakfast, you can get Italian style.
Did you just say
Italian.
You Italian person said
Italian specialty coffees. I think you can get those at breakfast. They don't charge if you get them afterwards. I think they charge you for them after breakfast. The bar is not an open bar, so you will be paying for your drinks at the bar. That's the bad news. The good news is they're not that expensive. You know, you might get a 750 pesos for a San Miguel or something like that. So you do the conversion. It's like we're doing up to 4 dives a day plus a night dive. Nitrox is included on the trip. We'll head over to Apo Island. Hopefully we'll get us all on one big boat and head over to Apo Island for an all-day safari. We'll do 3 dives over there in Apo Island. They also, cook lunch on the boat, and then the ladies from Apo Island paddle out in their canoes and sell you all kinds of stuff. So you'll bring pesos with you.
I would, just for this thing, this island is quite poor, and they really need our sales, and the things they're selling are $2, $3. So buy something even if you don't need it. They really need our support over there.
So you want us to bring money to Apo Island?
Pesos, yeah, bring your pesos, with you to Apo Island. And then we'll also, the Oslob whale shark snorkel, we will be heading out early from the resort. We take a ferry ride from Dumaguete, from the city over to Cebu, the next over island. And they take the van over, so we'll go over there, and it's about a 10-minute ferry ride's about 15-20 minutes, and then it's about 5 to 10 minutes from the ferry to the place where we pick up the boat to go over to snorkel with the whale sharks. The boat is like 4 or 5 minutes from where the whale sharks are. And then what they do is you'll come back. It's a resort. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a resort. They have showers there, bathrooms and stuff like that. So you can bring your change of clothes and take a shower, change into your your dry clothes after snorkeling with the whale sharks, and then they have a lunch that they provide there. They bring a cook over, and they'll have on the beach, and then depending on the time and stuff like that, they'll take you into a little town there, and you can do a little bit of shopping as well in Cebu, in Oslo. Okay, that'll be the last day. That'll be Friday, and that
Well,
gives
we
us
don't know that for certain.
Thursday or Friday, because that way they give us the time, so that we're not bumping up against any kind of no fly time. All right, if you,
So just make sure you have a snorkel.
What? Can't use a snorkel diving.
I mean, just wear a rash guard and bathing suit.
How long did we spend? with it?
You're only gonna be in 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe, where they cycle
They're
through.
gonna be this far away.
No, I know.
If you
All
get
right,
in the water, is it still just the rash guard?
for the whale shark,
Yeah,
yeah, I was in just a rash guard bathing suit. It was fine. All right. If you haven't done so yet, please go and register now at Atlantis. You'll go to the Atlantis website. Everybody should have the link. It was sent in an email that went out on the 10th of September from Scuba Shack, from info at Scuba Shack. You'll go to the Atlantis website, click on the guest corner, register for your trip. It brings you to this series of forms that they cycle you through. Skip the booking number. You don't have to put that in. It's going to ask you for your travel dates. You got to put those dates, the 18th to the 28th. You'll need to take a picture of your passport and load that up. Your COVID vaccine card they ask for. They're going to ask you about your certification information. Are you PADI, SSI, somebody else, and what level are you? Okay. They're going to ask you the number of your dives and the date of your last dive. Big one is about your dive insurance, your dive accident insurance, whether it's Dan or some other insurer, and then emergency contact, and whether you need any rental gear. And they ask you about what your estimated weight is. I think that's all the questions. I'm trying to recap it in my mind. I think that's everything. Now, what I didn't find is I did not get a confirmation back that they got it. So there was no confirmation that came back that said they got it. So,
So if you have not done this, they ask that we do it 30 days in advance, so we're there right now. So please do it in the next day or two if you haven't done it already.
okay.
is this a time to ask about this e-travel thing?
Not yet.
Okay,
We'll get to that one, Gina. We'll get to that. It's here. All right, the general information, we talked about Manila City Tour, about 8:30. We're going to meet in the lobby. We're going to be picked up at the Belmont on October 18th around 8:30. The check bags to Dumaguete. 3 check bags totaling 70 pounds, 1 carry-on at 15. If you think you're going to need more weight, we're still trying to get to the answer. $10 each way gets you 17 more pounds. Okay. So that gets you up to 88 or almost 88 pounds when you do somewhere in that neighborhood. What we're trying to resolve is whether that gets paid, whether Atlantis will just add that to your room charge, where we can tell them, Joel wants, 17 more pounds both ways. Okay. And whether we got to prepay that here or you just pay it on the back end. That's what we're still trying to resolve. So if you want more weight, please let us know in the next Okay.
By tomorrow.
No, I am sorry. It's like, we want to get this resolved. It's like, otherwise, what's that?
17 pounds, which is about
8 kilos for 10
8
pounds.
kilos. What's,
For $10.
have another increment above that?
Oh my God.
They do it, but it goes up to like 120 pounds or something like that for $35 each way. No, I mean,
High-light strobes are heavy.
shoot video lights.
I like scope, but 10 days, I might want to take some strobes.
So it's $10 extra each one.
If you want to go 17 more pounds, so it gets you to 88. And then I
If
think,
I don't use it, I say yes.
well, that's, so, yeah, you can sell it then. You could be taking
And
some,
that's an
you
additional.
could be taking other people's
that's an-
stuff and putting it in your bag.
So I need another-
That's an additional 17 pounds in the checked baggage, just to confirm, not the carry-on.
Your check baggage. They don't have, they don't allow you to like up your.
Carry on.
weight. Now, some of you were at the
I'm
information
getting a little
session.
confused here.
My God.
70 pounds for checked baggage and an additional 15 pounds for the carry-on?
Yes. Yes,
So the carry-on is not included in the 70
No.
pounds.
no, it is not. So you 3 check bags, 70 pounds. 1 carry-on at 15 pounds. Now, they're very confusing when they talk about, well, the carry-on is something that has to sit in the overhead. It got to be able to fit in the overhead. They also have some weird things about under the seat. This is the Philippines. I've seen a guy check a tire at the airport.
A what?
A tire.
Tire.
He rolled the tire in and checked it at the airport. And I've seen people get on these flights with bags that were bigger than me, carry on. So as Les told us, he's never seen anybody's bag get weighed. That doesn't mean they can't do it. So anyway,
If it looks like 15 pounds, but it's 20.
yeah.
Don't
So-
worry about it.
And what about a personal item?
They don't talk about that, George.
No, they do.
No, they do. They,
Personal items have your 15 pounds and your personal item has to be included in 15 pounds. But it can, small personal items can go under your seat.
Yeah.
They want you to be able to put your own baggage in the overhead.
Yeah.
Because people there are very short.
they can't
They
reach
can't
it.
reach.
No, seriously, it's.
You
I-
never know if it's 25 pounds.
There are some of us who are vertically challenged,
Peter, you'll be tall.
Okay.
No, well, so let me get something straight. Usually my carry-on is a rollerboard.
Yeah,
Personal.
that rule doesn't apply here.
Okay, so
Right.
my rollerboard is gonna be part of the check bags. My backpack will be my
Yes,
carry-on. Okay.
yes, because again, we get 3 check bags and a carry-on. Okay? I mean, again,
They're insured.
it depends on who's enforcing the rules. This is not TSA. It's different.
Are you saying you can't bring the roller bag on the plane? Carry-on? as
It's
carry-on?
gotta fit in the overhead and gotta be less than 15 pounds.
Is this a normal sized plane like a 737 or not?
They're regular jets. They're like Southwest.
Yeah, they come with me. Come on.
Yep.
May or may not.
So I can only tell you what the rules are. You can choose to follow the rules or
And,
bend them or break them. But I can only tell you what the rules are. Okay, so if you need more weight on your check baggage, please let us know in the next day or so. And we'll just see how, we gotta just figure out how it's gonna get added in.
Actually, tonight or tomorrow morning by email. I really have to.
Yeah,
follow up
send it
with
by
them tomorrow.
email to us so we have it on file that I want this much. It goes up, it goes from, what Les told me, it looked like there was $10 for an extra 8, and you can go up to like 64 kilos for $35 more each way. So 64 kilos is 120 pounds.
Much more than I'll need, but I don't think I can get by with it.
I don't know if there's something in between though.
Yep.
So here's what we'd ask. Send us what you want, either, the 8 extra or, the 17 or whatever. You got to do it by kilos, because do it kilos. The 8 gets you is $10. Okay.
2 of those? That's
I don't know. I don't think it's linear, George. That's what we don't know. So if you say, hey, I need 16 more kilos, we'll see if they have a sliding scale, or you may just have to go on.
So the 20 kilos for 15 was the new.
Yes.
So that 8 is 8 kilos.
Yeah. But I,
Send us what you need and we'll get the price.
Do your cameras have any weight? You want to carry that?
Just to confirm, Jeff, there's no particular like laundry or anything. We need to have enough clean clothes to get through the whole
No,
journey.
Oh, they don't,
They have laundry there.
they have a laundry service there. You just send it out, you put it in a bag, you mark it, and they charge it to your hotel room. So,
Or bring your own woolite and wash it.
no, it's like, I'm gonna travel light, and if I need laundry, I'll get it done over there.
Okay.
Easy. I mean, and it comes back nice and folded and smelling really good. And we all want you smelling good, especially towards the end of the
and
trip.
they iron your underpants.
Okay. If you have a boat bag, bring it. It makes it easier for carrying stuff to the Oslob or Apo. You might also consider a dry bag if things do get wet on boats. And the only other thing, marine park fees are added to your resort bill at the end. Okay, right now, our travel material we got from our invoice said right now they said it was $425 a day for a day dive, or $630 for a night dive. That's estimated. That's per dive. It's all based on the exchange rate, and I saw something that was about 3.25, now 4.25. So
yeah, okay.
for the marine park fees, depending on how many dives you do. So that's why it's very important. There will be a board up there. If you're not going to do a dive, you go up and take your name off of that boat for that dive. That way you don't get charged for it. That being said, your dive master tries to keep track of that for you as well, but they're not responsible for taking your name off or putting it on the board. So you're going to be assigned to a dive group. Your name will be up on the board. It'll tell you, and then you'll be able to either take your name off for that dive, and then you don't get charged for it. And then at the end, they just total up the number of dives you did during the day or night and put your marine park fees together. Okay. Gratuities. Typically 10 to 15% of your trip cost. That's what they're looking at over there. Again, that's a lot of money to the people in the Philippines, with that. You can do it in US dollars or Filipino pesos.
Mhm.
Okay, or a combination of pesos and
No
And-
credit
no credit cards for the tips. Okay, I had Les send me a copy of the tip envelope. I said, Les, can I have a copy of the tip envelope so I can show everybody what it's going to look like? You're going to get this envelope at the end when you get your bill for your checkout. It's going to say all these different departments, and you get to put what percentage you want to go to each department. Okay. And you also then at the bottom have a choice to put a dollar amount for a particular person. So if somebody did something really special for you and you want to give them something, you could say, oh, I'm putting $20 in for Joe or something like that. And you total it up. They are very, very meticulous about this. This is big to them over there. They do not want you paying anybody directly. It just brings out too many issues. They've had issues in the past with that happening, and it gets ugly. So all your tips go in the envelope. They actually, it's a big deal for them. The management staff, it's like not one person opens this. There's, it's like a casino, man. They lock it down. And they make sure that everybody gets their fair share. This is big to them. They want to take care of all their people over there. So please respect the way they're looking at the tips and gratuities. And if you have certain, you could ask questions over there. They'll work through it. Okay. But that's how we're going to handle the tips and gratuities. So bring your cash.
Hey, Jeff, do you have like a guideline, in general, not specific, because I don't remember how much this trip costs. So are we looking at like $300, $400 in general total, or you think 500? What is a
Well, the
good
trip
amount?
was, depending on, the trips
I'm not
were
including
anywhere from
airfare.
35 to $4,000, right? If you were or upgraded or single diver versus.
All right, so somewhere in that 350 to 500 range.
Yeah, in that
something like
whatever,
Yeah, I was
it's
just
what
looking for
you're
a
comfortable
ballpark.
with.
And do you have to, you just say divide it evenly? Can you do that?
You can divide it up equally. Your dive crew is going to give you probably the people that do the most work for you there are going to be the dive crew and the restaurant.
Wait staff and the restaurant, right?
Yeah. So you'll see it there. You'll figure it out.
Okay, just wanted to have a ballpark. I'm bringing cash. I want to make sure I got enough.
Bring enough to cover my tips, Peter.
Are there safes in the rooms?
I can give you a tip.
Yes, there were safes in the room when we were there.
Okay.
See, Joe, it's not black sand. That's right in front of the resort. It's kind of brown. Okay, now Gina, here's where we're going to get into the e-travel. 72 hours before you leave the US, there is a e-registration, and we'll send out the link. Make sure everybody has it again. You have to go online with the Philippine immigration. They want you to fill out everything ahead of time. You'll need your credit card, your valid passport, your detailed flight information coming in, proof of accommodations, which is your Atlantis voucher. And then the address there is what Donna figured out, Lepau, Darwin, Negros Oriental, 6215. And we're at 26 days or so before departure, but who's counting? We've been counting. We've been waiting since 2019 for this trip. So we didn't want to get into this is what the diving is going to be like. This is you'll get to experience all that when we get there, because we can't really do it justice. This was really about making sure that everybody was ready to go, or we could clear up any last minute issues or adjust anything that needed to be adjusted. So with that, I'm going to open it up to questions and we'll get to there. So I'm going to go.
Can't do that earlier. You
No,
need
72
5
hours.
5 days. for the
I
earliest.
read today, there's a lot of
3 days.
this. Make sure you have this website.
Yep.
If you get into a website
Okay,
that's
so-
charging you, you're on the wrong site.
So Joel says that this website shouldn't be charging you. I don't know why they
No,
want
no,
you.
there is a charge for this.
There is.
Yes, there
Okay,
is.
it's what I read said there was.
Okay, well,
Wait a second.
this is the link,
Yeah.
etravel.gov.
We will-
dot
we will
PH.
Send the link out.
The
5
challenge
days
is we
before.
can't do it ourselves either,
Yeah.
so, and, we got into this with Bonaire. It was like, when do you do it? And some people did it, then it didn't work, and then, but this is what it seems like a lot of places are gone to these days, is you register before you go in. But we'll let me find out. We'll have to get some information on what is the fee, if there is one, in fact. Okay.
Questions?
I have a
Someone else?
question. Oh, sorry.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question?
Question?
Yeah, tell me about pesos. Do we actually need pesos?
You should have some, Raphael,
Some means what? Peter made a really good point, which
Uh,
I was.
so,
About the tip. Some is what, please?
so, you have 100, 150, something like that
Okay.
in US dollars converted over to pesos. If you think you need more, then, you can do it right at the airport as well. The hotels will also convert it over. It's just the conversion rates aren't, maybe not as good as getting them here before you leave.
Okay.
But you can get pesos over there as well, but we're gonna travel with about 150 maybe in pesos and the rest in US dollars.
Just for your
Just do-
incidental stuff, your tip money should be on top of that.
Right, but you mentioned that the tip could be in cash.
Tip can be in
Two-
US cash.
Yeah,
Remember
two more
that-
questions, please. Two more questions, please. You mentioned that we could be charged for dives. We had to erase. Does the trip include the dives? I don't know what
No,
that
the-
means.
the-
charged for
yes.
dives.
Okay, so Raphael, the diving is included in the trips. What's not included is the marine park fees for each dive you do. And that's the one that can be anywhere from $325 to $425 based on, I don't know, what they're feeling like today.
You mean
Or the exchange rate.
$3 to $4? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, per dive,
Okay.
somewhere in that neighborhood. That's not included because that one is based on what you actually do.
Okay.
So if
And
you decide to take a day off of diving, then you don't pay marine park fees that day for 4 dives.
okay. Thank you. And the part about the transfers, I got a little mixed up when we get to the airport. Is Terminal 3 600 miles from Terminal 1? Does that
No.
involve transfers, or that's just a normal airport and you figure out how to get from one terminal to
Okay.
the other, like every
So
other
if-
airport in the world?
So you're flying
You're right.
Philippine Air. If your
Yes.
flight says you're going into Terminal 1,
Mhm.
arriving in Terminal 1, you're going to need an airport transfer to get you to the Belmont,
Right, of course. Okay,
okay?
that's all. Okay, thank you.
Because Terminal 1 is not within walking distance of the Belmont. Terminal 1 is not really you're not able to walk from Terminal 1 to Terminal 3.
Right, and you got us those transfers.
You have those transfers both ways. You should have it when you come in, and you should have it when we get back to Manila.
Yeah, I'll conclude with this. I thought that the package you sent us was quite good, and I want to thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Did, Donna, did you find out about the plug situation, the electrical?
I
For
knew there was
chargers and
something
stuff
else
like
I had
that?
to do.
What's about this?
I
No,
asked
it's-
that question too. It's not US.
Yeah, it's
What's that?
It's 220, but what are the prongs? I think it's American style prongs, so 2 or 3.
but it's 220.
Yeah.
Because the camera room is converted to US.
That's what they say.
But what
We couldn't
about
get in
our,
there because the image makers were all in there. when we were there.
what about in our rooms? Are those regular US plugs?
It is, they have the regular US prongs, but it is 220.
All right, but most of our adapters, our chargers can take 110 to 240, so as
Yep.
long as it just plugs right in. Okay,
Yep,
thank
I
you.
will confirm all of that.
yeah.
You hear me?
Okay, other questions?
Just had a quick question.
Computer?
Paying our resort fees at the end for everything. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, or any limitations there?
None that I am aware of. That, yeah, you can do credit card for your bill at the end.
Any credit card, I guess.
The park fees too.
Yes, the park.
It's
fees
best
are
to
all-
use Jeff's credit card.
Yes, you can use credit cards at the end, but you cannot add your tips to it. They consider that a cash advance and that's not allowed against a credit card.
Other questions?
Jeff, this is Gina. I have a question. I saw on the voucher for the going from the Atlantis to the ferry and everything like that. I don't see a transfer from the Atlantis to the ferry. Do you need one? I mean, how do you get there from the?
If you
They
look at
pick us
your,
up at Atlantis.
if you look at your Atlantis voucher, it says that they will give you the tickets. They include the ride to the ferry and it will give you the ferry vouchers. Atlantis will do that.
It's all right. I can only see that to get the ferry tickets.
Okay, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay. And when we're flying from Bohol to Manila to the airport and we're catching the plane the same day. But I don't know what terminals things are coming and going from. I guess other people have that same situation if they're leaving the same day from the Atlantis. You're saying if they are Terminal 3 and Terminal 1, how do you get from 1 to 3 or 3 to 1 when you're there?
What airline are you flying?
It says it's Philippine Airlines from
You're gonna
Bohol.
be in Terminal 1.
You're gonna land in Terminal 1 and what airline are you departing on?
Singapore Airlines.
That's Terminal 3.
Well, how do you get from 1 to 3?
We will check.
It's
on that.
because all of our transfers were run through Atlantis. We don't have a way to, I don't think there's a way for us to book a transfer between 1 and 3. Now, I've done it before. There's a bus that goes from 1 to 3. They'll show, I don't know if they've made that any easier because I used to have to do that. You have to go and get a little bus that they take you from 1 to 3.
Gina, I will look into it for you.
Okay, thank you. I'd rather not have to scare up a bus.
We'll see that, sometimes it may be you jump in a car or something like that, or a taxi or something. There's a free bus, yes, because I've done it. Believe me, it's finding it wasn't easy, but
She texted me at like 3,
Okay.
like saying that he probably won't, no, 3 p.m. Like for her. And
all right, I think that's the end of my
he was like, you probably won't see this
PowerPoint.
later, but like, hi, I hope you're doing good. And I was like, I hope you're doing good too, like at 3 a.m. She's like, why are you up at 3 a.m.? And I'm like,
All right,
yeah,
Somebody-
I said, I'm styling my free wig. That's her picture. And I'm like, listen.
okay, somebody is having a conversation. We're getting a lot of feedback. Okay.
You're gonna do the rest of
How
your.
did that happen?
Any last questions before we wrap up? Steve?
So you can't drink the tap water. So-
No, they want you to do the filtered water.
So can you get filtered water anytime?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Okay.
Very easy. all over the place.
Okay.
Do they have snorkels for the whale shark? I mean, I
They-
could buy one, but I don't have.
I wouldn't. If you can get one, Rafi, I'll just bring one because I wouldn't, they probably have them there, but
All right.
I'd rather have my own snorkel.
How many thousands of people have used them before?
Quickly, so for the e-travel, the checking in 3 days before, I'm assuming that's 3 days before you come into the Philippines, right? Because I'm not coming from the US. So I just do it
Yes.
before the Philippines.
72 hours before you come in from the Philippines and before you get to the Philippines.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, Marta is coming from Dubai. She's going
Other
first.
questions?
That's it?
Well, I'm going to stop the recording now. And